What is going on, everybody? It's 7up07 here, and today in this video, or starting with this video, I wanted to kind of bring back to life my collection video series, just involving all the new games that I buy and me building my collection as a whole. It's been a long time since I've made any kind of collection video, or any videos at all, of course, until I started back Let's Plays recently. So I want to kind of start doing these again in two different ways, and how I'm going to do that is this is going to be basically kind of like my old series was, and then I just kind of show you what I bought recently, but in this case it's going to be most of the stuff that I bought over the last 5 years, so it's quite a bit of content to go through. So this is going to be a pretty long video. I'll have it separated into probably two parts, and by each system, so it should be easy to navigate on. I'll probably put links to where you can get to each system or whatever if you just want to skip to a certain game system. But the other way I'm going to start doing collection videos, this is not going to be a continuation of my old series, nor is it going to be the start of a new series. But after this video, like I said, this one will be two parts, but after this one is over, I am going to start a new kind of like game hunting video series, and that's going to involve not only me showing you all of my pickups, but kind of how I got them, and even some footage of me actually going out and looking for games, or just talking about how I got the games while I'm out doing it. So it'll be a lot more interesting, I think, and it should be a lot of fun. I'll have to play around with how to do that, but look for the first one of those coming very soon. But anyway, so I'm going to get started on this one. This is, like I said, all the games that I've bought in the last 5 years or so since I made a video. It's not going to be absolutely 100% everything that I got, but it's, I think, most of it, just from looking through my collection, what I can find. So like I said, this will be two parts, and let's get started with the first one. The first system that I'm going to go through, I do have a few new systems to show you guys, but I'm going to hold off on that for right now. And I'm going to start with one of my favorite systems, especially to collect for, and that is the Xbox 360. It was my main system of last generation, and definitely one that I bought the most games for in the past few years. It is my second biggest collection right now, still behind PS2 by just a little bit. So I'm going to hop into these now. The first one is Halo 4. This one I bought pretty much as soon as it came out. I've always loved the Halo series, and this one is no exception as far as the online goes. The campaign was pretty forgettable in this game. So I played through it once, but I never went back to it, and I honestly don't even really remember what happened in the campaign on this game. But I had a blast playing the online. A bunch of my friends had it, and we would play it together. So just like many of the old Halo games, it had kind of fallen off after Halo 3 with Reach, and of course ODST was nothing at all. And I thought Reach was okay, but it was pretty average. But this one I really think brought back the multiplayer, and it was a lot of fun. So don't really play it anymore, though. I don't know how dead it is at this point. I assume, especially with a new generation of consoles out, that it's probably a pretty dead game by now. Next one I got is BioShock Infinite. I don't know how well you can see these covers. I really like the BioShock series. The first one was an absolutely fantastic game, and I didn't enjoy the second one quite as much as the first one, but I feel like that may have been just because I played them kind of back to back. I was a little late starting on BioShock, so I played them back to back, and the second one just lost my interest. I don't even remember if I finished it, to be perfectly honest, but so I got this not too long ago, and I love the way that they changed the series. They changed it to like the kind of steampunk setting, and like the city and the clouds and stuff. I just thought it was really cool. Did not disappoint at all. However, I did not quite finish this one yet. I know that there's a lot of talk about the ending and everything, but I have not gotten any spoilers on it yet, so I'm going to go back and finish this eventually when I'm not playing a bunch of other stuff. The next one is Fallout New Vegas. This is one that I don't have quite as big of a love for it as a lot of other people do. The Fallout series, it's always been like good. I appreciate it for what it is, but I never really got into it a whole lot. I played a fair amount of Fallout 3, but I had friends and other people I knew that, that would play that game all the time, hundreds and hundreds of hours into Fallout 3. And I just never got into it like that, like other Bethesda games. It never hooked me as much as it did other people. So I don't know if it's the setting, because I kind of enjoy that, post-apocalyptic setting most of the time, but something about it it was just okay to me. So I played a little bit of this one, but I actually never got really far into it, not nearly as far as I did in Fallout 3, so maybe I'll go back to it eventually, maybe not, I don't know. Next one needs very few words, but I still have plenty for it, and that is Elder Scrolls Skyrim. This is another one that I got upon release. I'm pretty sure I got it the day of, and absolutely just love this game. I love the map that it came with. I'm not going to pull the whole thing out, but it came with this really cool map, and just hours upon hours, definitely at least 200 hours put into this game, and including all the DLCs and everything, and this game just never got old to me. So, I eventually stopped playing it just because I took a break from video games, and then after that I went on to other stuff, but I never stopped enjoying this game, and I still have not quite finished all of the DLCs on it, actually. I think I did just about it's hard to say you've done everything in this game, but I think I did just about all the main stuff that there is to do in the original ship game, but there's a couple of DLCs that I still need to go back and finish eventually. Alright, kind of staying with the RPGs. The next one is one that I had heard a lot about, but I had heard like mixed things about it, and recently it kind of, it had fallen out of my radar for a while, and recently in like YouTube videos and stuff, I kept hearing a lot of talk about it again. So I saw it for just a few dollars at GameStop and picked it up, and that is Dragon's Dogma. This is one I hope to get to really soon. This is a very recent purchase of mine, so I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet at all, but it actually had really good reviews from critics and stuff, and like I said, I heard just personally from some friends and whatever, some pretty mixed reviews on it, so I definitely want to give it a shot. I think that it's just because there were a lot of other really good RPGs that came out around the same time as this one, and it just didn't really get the credit that it deserves, so I'm definitely going to give this one a shot. I'm pretty excited about that one. Next one, I'm going to go off of the straight RPGs and into this one. It's like an RPG dungeon crawler. Of course, I don't need to tell you what this game is. Everyone knows what this game is at this point, and that is Dark Souls. I missed the boat on Demon Souls, Dark Souls series, all the From Software stuff, right up until Bloodborne. I had watched people play, and I had played a little bit of Dark Souls 2 on the PC. Just one of my friends was playing it, so I decided to play some. And that was absolutely brutal, but I didn't expect any differently, really. So now that I've gotten used to kind of the way these games work, I know they're a little bit different, but having played Bloodborne and gotten halfway decent at it, it's hard to be really good at that game, but having played that, I hope to go back to this and give this one a shot, because I know this is a really good series. Okay, next one is another 360 exclusive RPG, which I have not actually played this one, but I've played some of the other ones in this series. This one is Tales of Vesperia. And I've played some of the other Tales games, like Tales of Symphonia on the GameCube. Absolutely great game. This one, it seems to have like the really cool art style that goes along with it, and I'm always a fan of these kind of RPGs that are very JRPG-like, and being a 360 exclusive, I had to pick it up. This is another pretty recent one, so I haven't touched this one yet either. Alright, and kind of rounding out the RPGs with a more interesting one that's not your standard RPG, we have Lord of the Rings: The War in the North. And this is one that I've heard is not that bad for a Lord of the Rings game, but when I tried to play it, I really didn't get into it. I had played the other older ones, like the Third Age on the PS2. I played that. I beat that one. I enjoyed it. Looking at it from like an objective point of view, it was a pretty mediocre put together game, but it wasn't bad. And this one is supposed to be better from what people say. It didn't really hook me at all, and I'm sure I'll have to go back and play it some more because I really did not give it a chance as much as I would like to anyway. Okay, so next we have yet another one that I picked up right upon release. I was super excited for this game, not only because of the developer, but just the whole concept of it, and that is LA Noire. I beat this one probably within just a few days of picking it up. I love the way this is put together. I love the way they use the engine in this game. I like the fact that they focused a lot on the dialogue and, really having to feel like you're investigating something, as well as just the whole setting, the time period, and the way they kind of tie in you building yourself up as a detective through like the vice and homicide units, and then you get to go and take on some like famous cases like the Black Dahlia murder case and stuff like that. And just a really well put together game, really enjoyable, not super long, so it's pretty easy to play through in just a few sittings. Next one is another one that I have not played as much as I would like to. There was no reason for me not to play it. I didn't stop enjoying it or anything. I guess I got distracted by something else. This one is Batman Arkham City. I had played through all of Arkham Asylum, and so I picked this one up because I knew how much I liked Arkham Asylum, and for whatever reason, I had stopped playing it. It's been a while since I got this one, so I never did. But I'm sure eventually I'll go back to this one because I also want to continue with the series because it seems to have been pretty solid all the way through, even with like Arkham Knight and everything. So this is another one I'll have to go back to. I love the style of this game. I love that it's very much like a comic book, but also has that kind of dark feel to it. So this is one that I'm definitely going to get back to eventually. Alright, and the next one I got is Far Cry 3. This is one I was a little bit late on getting. I got it sometime last year, and it's another one like some of these others that I just played through right away. I'd come home after class every day and just play this for hours. It's not a crazy long game, so it only took me, probably a week of doing that to beat it. But I almost 100%ed it. And I really liked that. So far, this is my favorite out of the Far Cry series. I just love the story. I loved the antagonist in this game. I thought was really good, and I love the way that they did all the power-ups and stuff with the tattoos. I thought it was really cool. Just kind of like a visual concept to all of the upgrades you were doing. And I never got bored with this one at all. The Far Cry series has kind of recycled what it's done, but unlike a lot of other games, it somehow maintains its interest to me, which is always really interesting to see. Even recycling the same kind of missions and stuff, they keep it, just the setting differently and stuff, I guess, to where that it actually keeps it interesting and fun to play. So this is a really great game. Alright, the next one is another 360 exclusive that is very famous. It's a pretty old one, and this is one that I just recently picked up, and I had actually never played it, and that is Ninja Gaiden 2. And I had played the first one on the original Xbox. The first one always had a reputation for being one of those really hard games, kind of like the Dark Souls, Bloodborne games are today. And the first one, it was pretty killer. I don't remember it seeming impossible to me, but it was pretty frustrating. So I've heard this one is harder, so I'll have to check it out. But I feel like after playing Bloodborne, it's not going to be all that bad as it used to be. The next one kind of go together. and that is two Assassin's Creed games, Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed Revelations. I have not actually played Revelations yet, so I'm not going to really bunch this into what I'm going to say about Assassin's Creed 3, but it seems to me like the series as a whole kind of went downhill starting with Assassin's Creed 3. It was a pretty disappointing game for me. I was really excited about it when it first came out. I think this might be another one that I got on release day, and I got home, I started playing it, and it was fun at first, and then it just lost me right away. I think by the second time sitting down to play it, I had gotten very bored with it and just did not feel like continuing it. So I got about halfway through it. I tried my best to finish that game, and I was bored and there was other stuff I wanted to play, so I decided to do that instead. And maybe I'll go back and finish it someday just to continue with the story of the games, because when this came out I was very much into the series as a whole, but it just severely disappointed me, and I will give Revelations a try eventually. Alright, the next two games also go together, as one is a sequel to the other. This is another 360 exclusive that came out pretty early on. It might have even been a launch title, I actually don't remember, and that is 99 Nights. And of course, 99 Nights 2. I always thought that the first one was a pretty mediocre game. I haven't played the second one yet because I just picked it up pretty recently. But I always thought the first one was pretty mediocre. I mean, it's just that hack and slash kind of game, like Dynasty Warriors, which I always had a lot of fun playing the Dynasty Warriors games, like on PS2. Just chill there with a friend and just slash through hundreds of enemies. I mean, it's always fun, but it doesn't make like an absolutely fantastic video game to me. It's just something you can, waste an hour or two doing with a friend that can be a lot of fun. Which this one, I believe, yes, this one is only one player, so I mean, just a pretty mediocre game. It's not bad, but it's nothing incredibly special to me. The only thing that was kind of its big selling point was how many enemies can be on the screen at once. It's too small on the back for me to show you, but if you look on the back of here, it just shows this battlefield with like hundreds and hundreds of people on screen, which is kind of cool, but that's really its only selling point. So the next one is actually, this is released as a separate game for 360 only as well, and I feel like they ended up putting this on something else, but I'm not 100% sure. But this one is just a collection of DLCs that came out, and that is Grand Theft Auto Episodes from Liberty City. This includes the Lost and the Damned and the Ballad of Gay Tony DLCs, which are very solid DLCs, very much worth the money that they cost. They're a little bit more than most DLCs when they came out, but it was well worth it because they're much more in-depth and a much bigger story than most DLCs that come with games. So I think that's why they released them separately like this. Plus they are, completely different stories just based on the same game and the same engine and everything. So this one you actually don't need GTA 4 to play it. You can just play this disc. So I got this from a friend, I think, because I had not actually purchased the DLCs, so it was just kind of cool to get them like that. Alright, getting down towards the end here, we have another one that I spent a good amount of time playing online, but last time I got on it, it was pretty much a dead community. All the servers were pretty dead, and that is Battlefield 3. This is the Premium Edition. I had gotten this kind of late for everyone else that I knew that got the Premium Edition, but I finally decided to drop a little money on it and get all the maps, because this game had so many maps. I don't think it's, 20 maps. There were 20 new maps included in this, and then I think it gave you like the season pass or whatever, but I don't think anything else came out after this anyway, so really solid maps. I loved Battlefield 3 Online. The campaign, just like I said about Halo 4, basically the exact same comments about this game, to be honest. The campaign was very forgettable, don't remember anything about it. Not like the Bad Company games. Those had an absolutely fantastic campaign. and some of the earlier Call of Duty ones as well, just to compare the series. But I always enjoy Battlefield way more than Call of Duty, and this one is no exception. The online on it was absolutely fantastic, and I had tons of hours of enjoyment on this one. Alright, and winding it down, we definitely have the bottom of the barrel here. The first of these kind of non-essential games being Star Trek. This is one that one of my friends that was around here, and he left with me, and this game is absolutely broken from start to finish. I mean, it's a movie license game of an already, highly saturated, highly overdone series of Star Trek. The movie was absolutely fantastic, but just like you would expect out of a movie licensed game, this game is incredibly, not just mediocre, but just, there was a point where we tried to play co-op, and there was a point where we just couldn't continue because the game was so broken. I think my wife likes to refer to it not as a game, but as just a coding nightmare. It's just absolutely terrible. So do not waste your time on this. I wouldn't have ever bought this game had my friend not left it with me, and I don't think that I'm too confused why he didn't want to hold on to that when he left. And then right at the end here we have just a couple of ones I don't even really need to talk about, just a couple of sports titles. The first is MLB 2K11, and the second is NHL 13. All of my sports titles on the 360 I think were from like 07, 08. So I just wanted, I love baseball games, and I hadn't actually had a hockey game since like PS2 era. So I needed to upgrade that. I had been wanting to play a hockey game. So, I've played those off and on, but I don't ever get into sports games all that much. There's, I'll have my occasional kicks where I'll play them a lot, but then after that I really don't touch them all that much. But it's nice to have around, just, have a couple upgraded sports games. So that is all for the 360 games. I'm going to move on to a couple of other consoles in this video, and then we will also have part 2 after that. So I will see you guys for the next stuff. Alright guys, so for this part, I'm actually going to be joined by my lovely wife Nisha here. Say hi.
Hi.
This is her first time doing something like this, so the reason for that is because these next two systems are both new systems from, one of them I've had for a long time and one of them we just got, but a lot of these games we've either bought together or some of them were hers from before we met, so this is more of her realm. I always was an Xbox guy before, so now we're going to move on to something she might have a little bit more expertise in than me. So first thing we're going to do is start with the newest one that we've gotten pretty recently, and that is going to be the PS4. Obviously, we were super excited to finally get in on this generation. We did get the Last of Us Remastered Edition, which was pretty cool because it was one that I had not finished yet, and I wanted to play it. So we ended up playing through that pretty much together. I mean, I was playing, but she was there the whole time, so it was fun. It's a really good game. But actually, her aunt ended up buying this for us as a wedding gift, which is pretty much the coolest wedding gift you could ever get. We threw it on the registry, and I didn't even think anyone was going to buy it. It was kind of just like a joke, but right before the wedding, she got it for us, so it was really cool of her. Not yet. Okay. So we only have a few games for that right now, because they're still super expensive, and we are trying to actually play the ones that we have. But I guess we'll start with these. The first one is going to be Bloodborne. This is the one I'm playing through right now, as many of you probably know that may be watching my Let's Play of it. So if you haven't, you should definitely go check it out. It's such a fun game. This is actually the first game from Software that I have played, which may surprise many of you. I only played a few minutes of like Dark Souls 2, but that's all that I've done so far. and she loves watching it.
Yeah.
But you haven't played it yet.
No.
So.
I'm scared to play it.
Yeah, it's pretty challenging, and it's a crazy game. So it's a lot of fun though. Next one is gonna be Far Cry 4. This is one I had to pick up. I know it was one of the earlier titles on the PS4, so it wasn't too expensive. I had to pick it up. I loved Far Cry 3, and I played most of Far Cry 2. I don't think I ever beat that. That was my introduction to the series, though I had never played the first one. I've played a good portion of this game, but I haven't finished it yet because we bought Bloodborne, and then it's just been that from then on. So yeah, this one's a lot of fun. It's not very different from Far Cry 3 or any of the earlier ones, but it always manages to maintain being fun, even if some of the stuff's kind of recycled. Next one is Battlefield 4. This one is definitely just for me. She's not into the whole like online game thing, and I really don't do it that much myself anymore. But you know, I had to get something like this for this system, and I haven't really played it a whole lot. I've played a few matches here and there, but I'm sure I'll go back to playing it at some point. Just, you know, play a few matches whenever I get a chance. But I don't expect a whole lot. I haven't played the campaign. I don't expect a whole lot out of it. Battlefield 3's campaign was pretty mediocre. But you know, it's just one of those that I always like Battlefield better than Call of Duty, so I wanted to check out Battlefield 4. Alright, this one I'm going to let her talk about because she is much more of a bigger Devil May Cry fan than I am.
Yeah, I'm a really big Devil May Cry fan. Devil May 5 is actually probably, well, DMC is probably one of my favorite actually out of all 5 of them. 3 is my favorite by far, but I guess I'll talk more about it in a bit, but I really like it. This is the definitive edition. Yeah, it just comes with like costumes and stuff like that. It's really nothing like super spectacular.
There's not a whole lot of new content on it.
No.
I really was surprised they remade it.
Yeah, and it was like really fast after.
Yeah, it was like not even like
really
2 years
weird.
or something.
Yeah.
Because that was already one of the later titles on PS3 as well, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that was really weird. But
yeah. But I really liked it, so I had to get it.
Alright, and next one. This is also one that she introduced to me. I'm very familiar with the developers of this game, and I've played some of their other stuff, but I had never played this one, and I've been watching her play through it, and that's The Wolf Among Us.
I really loved this game. I played the entire thing. I started it originally when they were first just releasing the chapters. This comes with all of the chapters, so it's the complete game. I really liked it when I first started playing it, but for some reason I just couldn't handle waiting between each chapter, so I decided to stop playing until all the chapters had been released. And he got this for me, and I was super excited, and I played through the entire thing, and it's, you know, your decisions and what you do really influence the game, and it's like, I love the art style, and it's super fun, so.
It looks really cool. I look forward to playing through this myself. I watched her play through almost all of it. I stopped towards the end because I didn't want to ruin the very end. I think I didn't watch like the last 2 chapters, but I watched the first 3, and it looks like an absolutely amazing game. So now that's actually it for the PS4 games that we have right now, but we're gonna go a little bit backwards now, but there's a lot more to this one. And this is a system that I got myself only a couple of years ago, and then she also had this one. This is the box for hers. I bought mine secondhand, so I didn't have a box for mine, but she has the Uncharted 3 edition. And so we actually have 2 PS3s in our house right now. one out in the living room and one in the bedroom, so we're never lacking a PS3 where we need one. So we have quite a few games here. This is our entire PS3 collection as well, because I never had one when I made videos before, so obviously those would have all been ones that I got since then. And you know, some of these I only had a few myself before we met, and then you know, we've gotten a couple here and there together, and then most of them though were already hers that she had in her collection. So some of the, you know, I usually stuck to the whole I have one dedicated system for multi-platforms, and you know, I would only get like exclusives or cool games on other platforms. So obviously the 360 was always my dedicated multi-platform system, but now with all of her games here, I've kind of gotten over that that fact. And of course, she loves the PS3 a lot more than the 360.
Yeah, I don't like the 360 like much. It has some good games, but I just can't get into it for some reason.
I think it's a lot of it's like the controller,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just, you know, always when you do stick to, you know, I'm definitely a huge Sony fan. I just happen to think that upon release and throughout some of the exclusive titles and stuff, that the 360 was a better system at the start. But PS2 and PS4 I definitely think are better than their Xbox counterparts. So anyway, we'll get into the games. These are in sort of like whatever random order I came up with that seemed to make sense to me, so we'll just get started with that. First of all, leading off with what the system version is the Uncharted Dual Pack. This, of course, has Uncharted 1 and 2 in it. Unfortunately, it is the greatest hits. These were hers before we met. Obviously, she didn't care what they were. And I've actually only played the first Uncharted. I have not played 2 or 3, but they're really cool. I love Naughty Dog. They're a great developer, and so they make some really cool games. And these are just, you know, they play kind of like a movie, but they're not in the sense that, like, you know, Telltale games are you're basically just watching it and choosing some stuff. But these, they actually play like a movie.
Yeah, I bought those, and then I started playing the first one, and I never actually finished it. So I really liked it, though, and I definitely wanted to get back into it. I just got really stuck.
Yeah, I'm sure both of us will eventually, you know, one of us will play it and the other will watch sometime in the future. Because I know they're good games and I have to go back to it. And then along with that, we have Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception, which obviously came with the PS3. And you haven't played this one yet.
No, I have played that
You
one.
did
I've
play
played
this
the
one.
entire
Okay.
one of that one, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's like a gorgeous game, and it was super fun. It controls really well. I couldn't put it down, honestly. Even my dad was like, "Oh, it's so cool!" So
Was there no like loss of connection to the story with between 1 and 2 not having played those?
no, I mean there was a little bit like, "Who is she?" But overall, it was, you know, maybe like they would fill it in really well, so that if this was the one you were picking up first, you would kind of get where it is and who everyone was without being like,
I think that's kind of nice when they do that, where you can, you know, just kind of pick it up and figure it out and then go back because you liked it so much. Like, you should be able to just pick up a game and enjoy it even if you're not 100% sure with the story. I like that. So next one is one that I had picked up before we got our PS4, and we kind of would trade off playing back and forth, and then we just, I don't really know what happened. We stopped playing it.
yeah, we got distracted or something.
Yeah, we got distracted by stuff, and just we had taken like a little break from video games and stuff. But anyway, that one is The Last of Us, and this is an absolutely fantastic game. Like I said before, when we got our PS4, it came loaded on the console already as a digital game, and so having the remastered edition with that, I played all the way through it. And like I said, she watched for most of it, and it's just an absolutely beautiful game. A great story. I didn't want to stop it at any point. The ending was a little frustrating for me. It left a little to be desired, but at the same time I appreciate what they were trying to do with it. And I don't know. It was just a little bit of a...
Yeah. It was weird.
It was weird. I don't know. But
that's a game to try to 100% though if you play it. Like, pick up as much stuff as you can.
It's hard to do though.
Yeah.
I thought that I had done that, but I looked back at like all the stuff that I had missed, and it was just absolutely it was a huge amount that I had missed. I couldn't believe it because I had made a conscious effort to like explore everywhere and try to find everything. I didn't even come close, so there's a lot to it. Alright, next one is also another game that plays kind of like a movie in the same vein as like a Telltale game, but a little more complicated. And this is one I'm sure all of you are familiar with, which is Heavy Rain. This is a really cool game. I love the concept that they came up with. You know, this developer had already explored this earlier on with the PS2 with like Indigo Prophecy, and they tried to kind of refine it with this, and I think it worked out really well. I have not quite finished this game. Did you finish this?
Yeah, I played through all of Indigo Prophecy and all of Heavy Rain, and I actually preferred Indigo Prophecy, weirdly enough, even though it controls, like, I don't know, a cow. But this one, it's really beautiful. It's really interesting how, like, everything you do to every single character really matters, and it, like, can really affect that character's storyline and stuff like that. So it was really interesting, and it's not as linear as Indigo Prophecy, too.
Well, the difference that we kind of discussed is that this is a lot smoother. It plays better, but that, like, you like Indigo Prophecy more because it kind of makes you feel like this hopeless feeling, you know, like you're stuck in this thing that you don't have 100% control over, so it's kind of interesting to see the difference with that. But
yeah, I literally said that, like, the poor controls lent themselves really well to the game, so.
It's an interesting concept, as long as it's not, like, poor to the point of, like, being unplayable.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine. And here's another one that she is a lot more of an expert on than I am. This was one that she had. I was familiar with this game, but as far as it being really good, and you know, I'm very familiar with the developer of this game and stuff, but I had never played it, and it was always one I wanted to get for the 360, but I never did. So she already had it on PS3, and I've played a little bit of it, and that is Catherine. This is just an absolutely bizarre game. I've watched her play some of it, and I played some of it myself, but I never played through the whole thing. She has made it most of the way.
I made it all the way to the very last stage, and I cannot beat the last stage. Like, I've tried over and over and over again, and I just cannot do it. But I've seen gameplay of it before, so I've actually seen the ending, or there's multiple endings, but I've seen one of the endings.
Well, this just, I mean, it is often considered to be one of the more difficult games from what I've seen. It's on some of those lists and stuff, but I honestly don't even know how to fully explain this game. It's just absolutely weird all the way through, and it's definitely something you have to check out for yourself.
And it's another one where what your actions do and stuff like that influence the game, because it's like a puzzle platformer almost, but then it also has like a social aspect to it and stuff like that. So that's actually the big part that will influence like characters, and you can actually, I think, save characters' lives or like stuff like that through the gameplay, and it'll affect the ending. And there's a bunch of endings. I don't remember how many though. Yeah,
I'm not sure, but just another great Atlas title that's really worth checking out.
With a super cool art style.
Yes, that's true as well. Here's one that I had prior to. This is just games I had always loved playing on the PS2, which is the God of War collection. I got this when I worked at Radio Shack. I got it for like $1 because they had it like super discounted, and I had all my discounts and some sort of coupon and stuff. So I had to get it. I usually don't buy like remake games unless there's a huge gap in between, or it has like a bunch of extra added content. This doesn't have, I think, any extra content. It might have some difference, but it had been so long in between me playing them that I really wasn't sure. But God of War speaks for itself. Okay, so we're going back to one that we already mentioned. This is the original DMC for the PS3, and this is the one that she played originally, and
I finished it. Like I said, I really liked it. I thought it was really interesting that there was such a huge controversy over like how they completely rebooted the series. But I felt like after Devil May Cry 4, that was such a terrible game that they had to reboot it, or it would have really lost its luster. So I actually really enjoy the game. It plays great. It looks pretty cool. It's just a lot of fun, honestly.
I think the biggest the biggest problem that people had with this game was the change to Dante's hair color.
I know. Oh my
I literally think that is the biggest complaint about this, because it plays really smoothly. Like, it does get a lot of criticism, but it actually plays really smoothly and kind of interesting. It has like this weird style where it'll I don't know. It's more. I almost want to say it's more linear and like straightforward, but.
Well, maybe So in like Devil May Cry 3, you can backtrack and stuff like that, but apart from that, it's totally linear.
Yeah,
Devil May Cry 4 is literally a game built around backtracking, and that one, it's also pretty linear too, but there's a lot of hidden secrets and stuff like that, so it is a lot of fun to explore and go back, and there is replay value and stuff like that.
I never got that far into it, so I'm gonna check. Alright, we're at 12 minutes left.
Okay.
We can try to get through this. I don't think we're going to have to talk too much about the rest. Okay. Alright, so the next one, this is another one that she had gotten after we met, not too long after we met.
Yeah.
But it's one that I have not played yet, but it is the sequel, very long distance sequel to a game that I loved back in the day that was put out by EA, and that's Alice Madness Returns. This is the sequel to American McGee's Alice, and that was an absolutely excellent game. It was made really, really well, and this one, from what I can tell, it pays good homage to it, but at the same time, it's just kind of clunky.
Yeah, it's just, so, like, this is another game that I think has a really cool art style. The story is really cool, but it's a platformer with okay controls, and it literally feels like you're doing the exact same thing over and over again, just with, like, different skins over everything. So I actually, despite really wanting to finish it, I just couldn't do it. I had to stop, and I think I was pretty close.
Yeah, I think you had gotten pretty far into it.
Yeah.
I mean, all I can say about this one is that if you haven't played the original American McGee's Alice, go back and find, like, I think it's only on PC, but try to see if your PC can play it, and go back and play that one.
Well, that game actually comes with a code for
it
American
does?
McGee's. Yes, and it's probably not that expensive. So if you want to play it on PS3,
there you go.
Get that, and it comes with a code.
You know, I sometimes forget that they have games remade on like PSN and stuff. It's I'm very the physical. Okay, anyway, here's another one that I haven't played, but she has. I guess it's put out by Bethesda. I've heard a lot of really good things about this one, but I never played it. I hope to someday, and that one's Dishonored.
I actually, I have a really hard time playing first-person games. They make me insanely nauseous, like really bad, and this is one of the few that I've told myself I'm going to power through and finish. It's so hard, and I get so nauseous that I haven't been able to finish it, but I absolutely adore the game. I watched gameplay of it, and I had to do it in little breaks, but I did it, and it's just a really cool game.
It's one I hope to get to in the near future, but there's so many games to play, we'll see.
Yeah.
Alright, so the next one is just a little group of games that these are some of our favorite ones to play together. They're just so much fun. They're, this is a generation that started to move away from kind of the party games and, like, being able to play together on the same console in the same room on the same screen. And that's always something I loved, as a kid and even now. So this is a series that's a lot of fun for us to play together. And we play it all the time, in little increments though. So one of them that we finished and we spent a lot of time on, but we still have to go back and 100%. We didn't get all of our true pirates. That's Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. So obviously I'm talking about the Lego series here. These are ones that have been out for a while. They have so many versions of them. It's just all your favorite, movie series or whatever. That they just turn into these like cutesy little kid things, but they're so much fun for adults as well.
Yeah.
The next one is Lego Harry Potter, years 1 through 4. This is the one we're currently playing together.
I actually got my mom to start playing that one, and we had a lot of fun at first, but we didn't get very far. But it was cool because I could play with my mom.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I love about that series is that, you can play it at our age, as young adults with your parents, or, if you have, like, you're our age and you have, like, little siblings, you can play with them, and, like, anyone of any age is going to have a good fun with it, so it's an excellent series. And then Lego Marvel Superheroes, this is one we haven't played a whole lot of yet. It was a little bit different from the other ones when we did pop it in for a little bit, and we just never went back to it, but I'm sure we will eventually. So.
Yeah, it just didn't grab us like the other ones, but I think we'll have fun with it when we go back to it.
But I also think that's partially because we're much bigger fans of Pirates of the Caribbean and Harry Potter than we are the Marvel Universe, so Okay, these next few don't require a whole lot to say about them. This is one that I don't even think you can play anymore. I don't know if the networks are even still up for it, or the servers are even still up for it, and that's MAG. This was a noteworthy game, though, because it was, I think, the first person, I forget how many, yeah, it was the first one to have 64 people in a match, which, nowadays isn't that big of a deal. Like, Battlefield 4 does that no problem, but back on the PS3 when this first came out, that was such a huge deal, and it really changed online gaming, but, by the time I had even gotten around to it, it had already died, so I haven't even really gotten to play it. Next one is SOCOM 4. I got this one because I loved the old SOCOM games on the PS2. This one, I played around with it for a few minutes, but it just lost me immediately. It's not the same. Even SOCOM 3 never really did it for me. This series just kind of went downhill, I think. It's not like a terrible game or anything. It's meh. Alright. This is another one for her to talk about more than me. I've briefly played the series, but mostly I've only ever played the first one, and there is a very distinct difference between like how the series progressed from the first one. So that one is Saints Row the Third.
I really enjoyed that game. I never actually played any of the GTA games. This was the first Saints Row I played, and it's a lot of fun. The controls are really like on point. Driving is great and everything. The story is absolutely ridiculous. The weapons are ridiculous. It's such a fun game to play, and I've played it multiple times. I played the fourth one too. I have a digital version, and it's pretty much the same game with superpowers, and then I stopped there because I thought that the next one would probably suck.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, there was like the first one was more of a direct clone of GTA, and then I do appreciate that they kind of went in their own direction and tried to make it, off the same kind of design, but just this totally crazy, weird, over the top kind of thing.
Yeah.
So next one, I got a couple of RPGs here. There's not a whole lot of RPGs that I have on the PS3 right now, but this is one of the great exclusive titles on the PS3. I still have not finished it, but I've played a good amount of it, and I just really like the way it controls. And that's White Knight Chronicles. This is the International Edition, of course, and this is definitely one of the better RPGs on the PS3 that I've seen. I just really like the whole feel of the game, the way it plays, and I like the system that they use where you kind of control this much bigger being, your White Knight, that you're fighting as, and it's really well done. So if you haven't checked out this and you're a fan of RPGs, you definitely need to check that one out. And along with that is another RPG put out by Sega, which is Valkyria Chronicles. And this one's really interesting. It has that really cartoony, Sega style art style. And but the most interesting thing about it is the setting that it's in, which is this like kind of alternate reality World War II setting, and it's really interesting. You don't see a whole lot of RPGs like that, and it's a pretty solid game from what I can see. I again need to spend more time on this one. It's one that I only briefly had played a long time ago, but I ended up picking it up pretty recently. I think from one of your friends had gotten it for us. And I hope to get back to that one at some point. This is another one of Nisha's games that I have not spent any time on, and that is the remake of Tomb Raider. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a remake or a reboot.
It's a totally new game.
Yeah.
I think it takes the timeline back to before everything, like all of the games. I think this is supposed to be first. It was interesting, but I didn't really get into it. I never finished it. I wasn't really big on the whole crafting or anything like that. I guess the graphics are pretty cool and the story might be sort of interesting, but I didn't even bother watching gameplay of it. I wasn't interested enough.
Yeah, Tomb Raider is a series that I played the ones on PS1. I may have played a couple minutes of like one of them on the 360, I think Guardian of Light was one, but that's totally different. That's like an arcade title, and it's completely different from these, and I was never a huge fan of the Tomb Raider series to begin with. It was good, it just never was one of my favorites, so it was kind of whatever for me. Alright, so that's the bulk of the games, that's the main ones. The only things left are a couple of, junky sports titles. Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2007. I found that for like 50 cents at some store, and I was like, yeah, I don't have it, so why not? And then next goes along with an extra peripheral that I bought also at Radio Shack at a super discounted price. And that's Sports Champions. This is like the game that came packaged with the PlayStation Move, which I played around with it a little bit. It's literally just like PlayStation's clone of Wii Sports. That's pretty mediocre. Some of it was okay. They have like really weird random sports on it, so it was kind of just like whatever. Have you played the PlayStation Move at all?
No.
Yeah, it's just, it's okay, but it was that whole fad of the motion controls, and it was just, it's not that exciting anymore. So the Wii is the only one that I think that actually did it right, and everyone else tried to copy it and just didn't quite get to it. And I haven't really used the Kinect at all, so I don't know how to compare all of them together, but I mean, motion controls are just kind of like a fad thing to me, so. I think that is all of our games, so that is going to do it for this video. I'm going to be continuing with, this is kind of just like a one-off video, and I'm going to be continuing with a different series after this of just like game hunting, which will be with me, and then I'm sure Nisha will be in some of them as well, so we will see you guys later. It was, it always had that, Jesus. Babe, why can't I remember words?
What are you trying to remember?
It's so bad.
What are you trying to remember?
When something is considered to be something like a certain way.
What?
It has this word. Reputation. Wait. Which one is that? Probably sometime last year is when I got this one, and I played through it in just a few days as well. Like pretty much as soon as I got out of class, I would come back and play this game. Stupid fucking plane.
That was a helicopter.
That was a helicopter?
I think so.
That didn't sound like a helicopter.